Welcome to Park Bench Interviews, hosted by Randy Goodman, Harvey Callis Real Estate, your real estate professional. Get to know our community, our businesses, products, and services that will elevate your life. Please welcome your hostess, Randy Goodman.
Hey, I'm Randy Goodman. I am a real estate broker, a publisher, event producer, and all kinds of wonderful things. But we're not here to talk about me. We are here to talk about the beautiful Wendy Woods, who is a coach. And I want to find out all about what you do, Wendy. So please introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, Randy. Nice to be here. My name is Wendy Woods. I help executives and leaders navigate uncertainty and complexity so that they can go from good to great. I also work with individuals as well, helping them go from good to great. So that's it in a nutshell.
I love it. Love it. And thank you for being here. I am super excited to chat with you and share everything that you do with our audience. So tell us a little bit more about, let's go a little more in depth about what you do and how you help people.
So there are basically three ways that I help people. One is working with those executives and leaders, doing one-on-one coaching to help them navigate, I said complexity, uncertainty, and specific challenges like getting too caught up in the day-to-day and not focusing on strategy. It could be things like engaging their team more strongly, executive presence. So I'm working with them one-on-one over a period of time to help them get to that next level. So that's one area. The other areas, I also work with individuals. So often individuals will come to me and they either want a career change or they want to get promoted, or it might be something like even just having a better relationship with their boss. So I help work with them and navigate those areas. The final areas, I also do workshops. So I do workshops on mindfulness, stress reduction, resilience, and I offer those in associations and corporations. And I think given the last year and a bit with COVID, it's been needed more and more as we're navigating so many uncertainties, right? And the uncertainties are continuing, unfortunately. So
yeah, no, I totally hear you. I agree with you. And it's so needed. People don't realize how much support they need until things happen in their life. And we kind of end up being these robots, just doing, and not really, thinking about what we're doing necessarily, or being conscious of it, or with doing it with purpose or with intent. It's just, like you said, like a robot, just doing. So it's nice to be able to shift that and actually do things with a purpose, with intent, and to have a goal in mind and do things that move towards that instead of just being these typical robots that we are. And of course, COVID brought other, challenges to people as well. So having someone like yourself to support them is really important on all levels.
Yeah, and we are a culture of doing, right? Get more done, tick things off, more boxes, right? And so working with a coach can help you take the time to reflect that you may not normally do in your life or your work. And it's the idea of slowing down to speed up. It's not a waste of time, it's an investment. So I love doing that. I love seeing clients that get these aha moments or see things differently, and it adds so much value to their lives, the people they're working with as well, and their companies.
Yeah, and it helps them be so much more productive as well. So, okay, awesome. So tell me a little bit about who is Wendy. What is your story?
So who is Wendy? Well, a chocolate lover, a water lover to start. abstract painter. Those are sort of some of the things that bring me joy, which I know, during something like a pandemic or tougher times just help lift me up. But aside from that, I won't go back to, Wendy was born in Montreal. I won't go that far back.
That's okay. We need to know that.
Well, I was born in Montreal, and actually I was in the first French immersion class in the province. So I was a guinea pig.
Wow.
And I was lucky enough to continue throughout high school, and I love speaking French, and that's a joy for me. So that's one of the things. But how did I get into coaching? People always want to know. Mm-hmm. So going back to when I was doing my undergrad, I love people. I've always loved people, helping them, supporting them, championing them. And so my undergrad was in psychology. And I thought, I'm going to become a clinical psychologist. And I took all the courses. Then I was introduced to organizational development and organizational behavior. And I was fascinated. The study of people within organizations, like how great is that? And I became fascinated with it and really wanted to pursue that. And then my thesis advisor said there aren't many programs in Canada at the time. I'm like, okay, that burst my balloon. I went and started working for a few years and then decided to do my MBA. So I did my MBA. I was on Bay Street. I worked in mutual funds and loved it, worked with lots of smart people. It was an exciting time. And then I had a job where I was developing a website. I was part of the launch team for advisor.ca, which is still around. Mm-hmm. And that was the best of times and the worst of times. The best of times because I was going outside of my comfort zone and I was learning, and it was a great team and very exciting. And the worst of times because I wasn't using my innate skills. Mm-hmm. And those were working directly with people, supporting people. And so it made me realize that I was getting too far away from who I am and what makes me happy and what are my natural gifts. And so I decided to go into training where I was largely what we'd call soft skills and helping individuals navigate things that they're never taught, right? How do you communicate more effectively? How do you deal with some of the politics? How do you manage the stress that's coming at you? And then one day a client said to me, I wouldn't hire you as a coach unless you were certified. Well, that was a light bulb moment for me. And I'm like, I'm going to get certified as a coach. So I started that process in 2014 and I was certified in 2016, and I haven't stopped learning and growing as a coach. And I just love that I can work with people and help them be their best in whatever those goals are that resonate for them. Yeah. So that's kind of a quick version.
I love that, and I say this every time. I love hearing the transition of, what people wanted to be, what they studied, where did they end up, and what did they go through to get there? And it's quite an interesting journey all the time. So I love it. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Sorry, I just want to add one thing.
Yeah, please.
I mean, for me, it feels like I've come back home because I went into business and now I've come back to working with people, and I'm combining two skills, my business acumen and my love of people. So it's just a really nice place to be. Took me a while to get there.
Well, I can see it in your face. I can see it in your energy that you really love what you do, which is, I think, the most important thing when somebody's after a career, that it's something you enjoy, something you want to wake up to and jump out of bed and get up and go and do every day. You have to enjoy what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm glad that you found that.
Thank you. I am too.
And it's funny because sometimes all it takes is like one person saying something to you, like that person who said, well, I'll only work with you if you're a certified coach. And you're like, oh, light bulb. Okay, maybe I'll go and become a certified coach. But it adds that much credibility to you, and even though you may have experience from the past, people that you don't necessarily look at that as a qualification. They want to see some letters after your name, or, some kind of document that says you've gone through some kind of training or whatnot, even though you may have 20, 30 years in your life of that kind of training. It just elevates you a little bit more, especially for the people you don't know.
Right. And also there's a whole coaching methodology. Anyone can call themselves a coach right now, but as a certified coach, you adhere to certain obligations and guidelines and ethics and a certain minimal amount of training. And this coaching methodology, which is not, many people think that it's advising or telling someone what to do. It's not. The people we work with are smart and capable, and they know themselves. It's just, I help facilitate their thinking so they can get where they want to go.
Yeah. And it's definitely a skill. So kudos to you for going and getting your certification and taking it that step further in order to help your clients and be the expert that you are. So, so tell us a little bit. I mean, you told us about your business, but tell us more specifically about what services do you offer? So if somebody's listening in, what can you trigger in them, or what can you share with them that will help them understand, oh yeah, that's me, I need to call Wendy?
So it could be a variety of things. So someone might be sitting there as an individual and think, I want to make a change in my career. And I have a client who's there, super smart, capable, senior individual in education, and she's stuck. So I'm helping her identify next steps and where she'd like to go. So if you're stuck in your career, if you want that promotion and maybe you've been passed over or it's not happening as soon as you'd like, that's an opportunity for us to work together. Maybe it's rounding out some of the edges around some relationships that you have at work. So that would be when an individual calls. A manager, an executive leader or manager would reach out if they are struggling maybe with their team and engaging their team. It's a whole new ball of wax with the many generations in the workplace. So that could be one. Maybe they're never getting to those strategic projects or never being able to think beyond sort of 1 month or 2 months. And really that would make a huge value added difference to their role if they could think longer term. They may be not as confident, right? Even some of these people that we would think, wow, they're so smart, they're so accomplished. They might need to step up, develop greater confidence. And so those are some areas that people might identify with. And you know what? If they're not sure, I always have a complimentary conversation anyway to say, are we a good fit? How can I help you? What would be of value?
And that's really important. And I'm glad that you do that. Not a ton of people are willing to do that, but I think it's really important because it's not just about whether they find you to be the right coach, but you also have to look and say, are you my right client? Right? Yeah. It goes both ways. People don't necessarily realize that. It's important that you're able to give them that first conversation and have them know there's no charge for this conversation. Let's just see if we click, if we resonate, and then we'll go to the next step. So I love that. Thank you for offering that to people. And tell us, what are your professional or personal goals over the next year?
That is the question of the month now that we're in December.
Yeah.
and it's interesting because I've just had a few conversations around that lately. It's on my mind. So very timely. I don't know that I have full answers. One thing I will share with you is, well, a couple of things. One is I started this off by saying I love water. I'm a crazy water person. Water, being able to clean up water or being involved in water initiatives, very important to me, and also the environment. So one of the things I'd like to get more involved in is coaching people that are doing this work, that are working on the planet and helping with reversing climate change and doing their part. So that is a huge love and something I'd like to do more of. And really the idea behind that is I want to have, selfishly, I want to have an impact that goes beyond me, beyond the individual I'm working with, to future generations. And so by doing that, that would really make a difference. So that's one. The other thing that I'm planning on doing is often I'll coach a leader, but there are other people on their team that need help and support, or the team in general might need help and support. And so I'm looking to really be able to support the individual and their entire team. And obviously as a coach, everything is confidential. And even if I'm working with the boss and other people on the team, I maintain sort of neutrality, right?
Right.
So those are two areas.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And how do you give back to the community? I know it's important to you. I love how our audience, our network is always looking to give back or to give in some way. And I'd like to know how you do it. What's important to you?
So I do offer some pro bono coaching, sometimes in an organization where they have a particular goal. I have done that with women who were homeless, but also I work with individuals that maybe are, sometimes new to Canada, or they're changing jobs, or so in an informal role, I kind of mentor and coach individuals that are in my world or come to me, and that's one way of giving back.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. And you get to use your expertise and, see results in people and know that you're giving back at the same time. So thank you for being that person.
Yeah.
So do you have any tips or suggestions for the people who are listening?
Yeah. So one of the things that we're all dealing with is stress, right? And the sources of stress may be different, but we're all dealing with it. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I suggest is, let's say you're finding yourself in a stressful moment. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most stressed, 1 being the least, evaluate, where are you? So maybe you're an 8 or a 9. And then ask yourself, where would you like to be? Maybe it's a 5. It doesn't have to be a 1 or a 2. Maybe it's even dropping to a 5.
Yeah.
And then there's something called, and it's used by Navy SEALs, so we know that it's effective. It's called box breathing. And basically we inhale for, I'll say 3 breaths. We hold for 3 breaths. We exhale for 3, hold for 3. And you just keep on doing that for about 1 to 3 minutes. Okay. Then go back and evaluate yourself on that scale of 1 to 10. If you're not where you want to be, you might want to do another couple of rounds. So 3 is not engraved in stone in terms of the number of breaths. If you're feeling super stressed, you may want to go to 4 or 5 and do, 5 breaths, hold, exhales 5, hold 5. So that's a really good technique to sort of bring your parasympathetic nervous system back on track. So as we're heading into the holidays, if there are moments that are triggering, or we're feeling overwhelmed by everything that needs to get done, you can do this in a store, you can do this in a meeting. No one has to know what you're doing. So it's a very accessible tool.
So can you show us a couple rounds of an example?
Sure.
What that looks like? Verbally, we heard it, but a lot of people are visual,
sure.
and they want to see
it.
So
you want to do it with me, Randy?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll do 3. So we inhale, 1, 2, 3, and we hold, 1, 2, 3. We exhale, 1, 2, 3. We hold, 1, 2, 3. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Hold, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Hold, 1, 2, 3. So
awesome.
that's an example.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you. So how can people reach you? What's the best way for them to find you?
The best way for them to find me is just email me at Wendy@wendywoodscoaching.com. Wendy@wendywoodscoaching.com. If you got a question, I'm thinking about getting support for this, or I'm struggling with that, fantastic. I'll get back to you. We'll figure out a time to speak. And, I would love to support you on your journey, whatever that journey is. So.
Love that. Thank you. And thank you so much for being with us here today. Do you have any final comments or anything you want to say to everybody before we sign off?
Oh, well, I just, I think COVID presented a huge opportunity for many of us to really rethink whether it's work or our lives. And that can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. And so, what is it you really want in your life? What do you want to create? I'd love to have a conversation with you. And as the new year is coming, it's a perfect timing. So take that opportunity and let's get you where you want to go.
Love it. Thank you again, Wendy. Please reach out to Wendy at wendywoodscoaching.com. I know she'd love to set up a conversation with you. And thank you so much for sharing with us today.
And thank you, Randy. And thank you for creating communities and helping people in their businesses. And, thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this interview hosted by Randy Goodman. We hope you will take action and connect with the incredible business people and leaders in our community. And remember, Randy is always here to answer any questions you have regarding your real estate needs. Be sure to register on the website and stay up to date on what's happening in your area at parkbench.com/millpond.